Chapter 20 in survivorio is notoriously difficult, but not today, because we are going to walk through everything you need to know to complete this chapter. The best gear, the best skills, and more. Then we'll walk through chapter 20 from start to finish, covering the types of enemies, elites, and bosses you will face. If you want to see more original survivorio videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to help support this channel, please give this video a like. You can also get a free gift from NordVPN when you sign up using the link in the description of this video. Your highest grade gear may work best for you on Chapter 20, but here are some recommendations. Everyone has their own preferable weapon, so I suggest using what you are comfortable with, but I personally prefer to use the Light Chaser or Kunai. Some people like to use the bat in this chapter, and I have an account with a high-level revolver that I like to use sometimes. Excellent grade fingerless gloves can instantly kill non-boss monsters, including elites, and an epic grade piece of gear can additionally increase attack up to 30%. Chapter 20 has a lot of high HP monsters that deal damage from a distance, like those little blue fire-breathing monsters, so being able to instantly kill them is going to be very beneficial. The carapace in theory should work well in this chapter due to the number of bullets you will come across. When tested, it worked fine, I guess. An excellent piece of this gear can reduce bullet damage received, and an epic piece of this gear will summon a storm that blows enemies away and nullifies shots when a hero is hit by bullets. I'll be honest, it's a little underwhelming, but usable in this chapter. The Eternal Suit is also useful if an extra revival is required as opposed to reduced bullet damage. Both pieces of gear increase base attack stats by 15%, so it really depends on the user. Eternal Boots increase your base movement speed by 2, and an excellent grade piece of this gear leaves a trail of fire when moving, and that's really useful here. You can use it to kill bosses, elites, and remove puddles of lasting damage from the ground. There are a ton of high HP monsters with ranged damage that charge at you from every corner, so a skill like the 1-ton iron can help defeat them in bulk and keep them from swarming in on you. Combine the brick and fitness guide to create the 1-ton iron. This may be very controversial, but Chapter 20 is the first chapter I like to use drones in. Surprisingly to some players, the Destroyer drone potentially works really well in this chapter against groups of high HP enemies and bosses. Combine both Type A and Type B drones to create the Destroyer. If you do this, you can also acquire an additional skill and passive skill. The Defender will damage multiple enemies and knock them back, keeping you protected in the center. It's great in this chapter due to the number of high HP monsters. Combine the Guardian and Exo Bracer to create the Defender. The Force Barrier primarily excels in the later stages of this chapter when things start to get hectic, and you need to keep groups of enemies out of your personal space. The Force Barrier will cause damage and push the enemy away from your hero. Combine the Force Field and Energy Drink to create the Force Barrier. The Whistling Arrow can automatically lock on and attack enemies all over the battlefield, and it's easy to get surrounded by different types of enemies in this chapter, including zombie soldiers with guns and fire-breathing monsters. So not only do you want to be able to push groups of enemies away from you, you will want to kill them from a distance in some parts of this chapter, and that is exactly what this skill can do. In addition, it's great against bosses. Combine the Drill Shot and Ammo Thruster to create the Whistling Arrow. I like the Quantum Ball for the same reasons as the Whistling Arrow. The Quantum Ball can work up a great amount of damage against hordes of enemies that can shoot you from a distance. This skill works well alongside passive skills like the Ammo Thruster to increase bullet speed, Energy Cube to decrease all attack cooldown, and HE Fuel to increase range. I've played this chapter a few times on different accounts, and the Whistling Arrow and Quantum Ball can be interchangeable with each other or used together. Combine the Soccer Ball or Football with Sports Shoes to create the Quantum Ball. There are many other great skills to use in this chapter, including the Supercell, Shark Maw Gun, and Caltrops if you need a path to escape. For the first 30 seconds, you will fight red fire-breathing monsters. After 30 seconds, zombie soldiers armed with rifles will appear alongside the red fire-breathing monsters and will begin shooting at you. At the 1-minute mark, orange scorpion-looking monsters will appear that leave a puddle of lasting damage when they die. They are fast and give you a taste of what you can expect later on in this chapter. At this point of the game, it is advised to keep moving and looting so that you can level up your weapon and obtain skills. Either a skill that can defeat enemies in the distance like the drill shot or soccer ball, if you are comfortable maneuvering around the enemy, or a skill that can assist you in defeating and keeping enemies away if they get too close, like the guardian or force field. Eternal boots work great against this enemy. The trail of fire will defeat them, nullifying their lasting damage effect, and if you quickly move towards a puddle of lasting damage and quickly move away, you can remove the puddle using the boots. It may take a little practice though. At the 2-minute mark, an elite monster will appear. Here's a butterfly that will chase you and launch projectiles of lasting damage. In addition, the orange scorpion looking monsters will become more aggressive and more of them will appear. At 3 minutes is the first zombie alert and the scorpions will begin to fade out as the red fire breathing monsters reappear. Keep a distance, time out the intervals between their attacks to avoid taking damage, and continue to loot and level up. After the 4-minute mark, orange scorpions and zombie soldiers will return and the red monsters will phase out. At the 5-minute mark is the first boss assault alert, and here is the corpse hound. This boss will continuously chase you, but it's easy to avoid and kite if you simply run in circles around it. Once the boss is killed, blue fire breathing monsters will appear. They have more HP than the red guys, but they drop blue and gold loot that can help you level up faster. So this is the perfect time to fight and level up skills as quickly as possible. After 5 minutes and 30 seconds, red fire breathing monsters will join the fight. Things can start to feel crowded, especially with all the range damage coming your way. So unless you have enough HP and attack, keep moving. Don't get stuck in the center of things. You don't want to get surrounded here. Always have a pathway to freedom and find loot like food and bombs if you need them. At 6 minutes, things will start to pick up a little bit. There are more monsters rushing toward you and they can easily crowd around you. So just like before, keep moving and let the monsters chase you. Skills like the guardian and, in my opinion, both drones work well here as they can cause short to mid-range damage. It's also fun to kite the enemy using drones and trying to get the hitboxes to hit large groups, in my opinion. And a higher level soccer ball or quantum ball, as well as the drill shot or whistling arrow, can be effective here as well. At the 7-minute mark, orange scorpions and zombie soldiers will appear, and fire-breathing monsters may fade out. It's easy to think that you can potentially get overwhelmed here, but I believe in you. You've made it this far, so you can do it. An epic and higher carapace, in theory, can potentially be effective to some degree for some people in the situation, as there will be a lot of bullets flying toward your hero. At the 8-minute mark, a zombie incoming alert will be displayed and red fire breathing monsters with zombie soldiers will appear. It is important to keep looting here. Loot the items dropped by previous enemies and find boxes that contain useful items like magnets to help you grab the loot, bombs, and food. Save bombs for bosses and elites. At 9 minutes, zombie soldiers will die out and blue fire breathing monsters alongside an elite such as the construction worker zombie will appear. The construction worker zombie isn't the toughest elite to kill, but it has decent HP, can spawn smaller construction worker zombies with decent HP, and it will chase you everywhere. You can choose to run circles around it or let it chase you, but it may be safer to just run away so you avoid getting swarmed by other enemies. In addition, as shown here, fingerless gloves were able to insta-kill this elite. At the 10-minute mark is a boss assault alert, and here's the Toxinator boss, a slug that leaves a trail of lasting damage behind it and spawns puddles of lasting damage on the ground. To avoid taking damage from the puddles spawned by this boss, quickly move away from the red circles that appear on the ground. The lasting damage effect will be applied to the area within the red circles after a short time. It's easy to run circles around this boss, keeping them isolated while avoiding the areas of lasting damage. If you are using the Molotov or fuel barrel, the lasting damage effects caused by this boss will be removed, making it easier to move around. Once the boss is defeated, blue fire-breathing monsters will appear alongside blue scorpion monsters. Unless you can handle the pain, it is advised to keep moving. That's pretty much the rule of this chapter, keep moving. It's easy to get swarmed by high HP monsters with special skills affecting your mobility, so let them chase you, or at least let them think they're chasing you, and keep fighting. At the 11-minute mark, red monsters and an elite will join the party. The elite is probably the least of your worries. Let it chase you or quickly kill it to move on and avoid getting overwhelmed. After 12 minutes, orange scorpions and zombie soldiers with rifles will approach from every side alongside an elite monster. The blue fire-breathing monsters will also leave, but the blue scorpions with HP will stick around. I don't like the brick early on in this chapter, but the 110 iron excels here, as does the whistling arrow and quantum ball. I personally like to use the destroyer drone, and that's controversial, I know, but it's fun and it's proven to work. At the 13-minute mark, another elite will appear alongside green scorpions, and at 14 minutes, red fire-breathing monsters monsters will appear, and you have 1 minute left to survive. At the 15-minute mark is the final boss, the Papillon Queen, a butterfly who will launch purple orbs at you, some that follow you around, and spawn mini butterflies. This boss is fun. Evade the purple orbs flying your way the best you can, and attack the boss. It's not the hardest boss to kill, but it does launch a lot of projectiles at you, and that can make it feel like you're running through a maze. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any questions or tips you want to share, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.